Hey, Alex. How's it
Hey,
going?
Michelle. How you doing?
Good. Oops. I always have to adjust. So we don't have a hot ticket item for my area this month, Alex, so that's a relief.
Well, yeah, we've got a relatively short agenda too.
I know. And well, I'm sure it'll be a hot ticket item again. That's why I
I'm
voted.
sure that when people from the Department of Corrections finally deign to come to meet with us, we'll have another 50 people on here.
Oh, you didn't know? So they're gonna meet with the commission across the street.
I'm just crazy. It's insane.
He doesn't want to talk to me.
I mean, I asked Pinto about that yesterday, and I said, what are you doing about this? And yeah, no, I heard that.
What'd she say?
She said that, well, she can fill you in herself, but that she was trying to get them to provide, their justifications and the timeline and explanation for why they haven't shown up to us and all this kind of stuff. So I guess
well, it's been going. So she hasn't communicated with us either.
Well, I guess she's trying to figure out what the hell's going on so that she can.
So as we have you seen emails? So the significant stakeholders and I are waiting for responses. Yeah. That's okay because the campaign has begun. So are we open? Is the chat? Is everything open, Alex?
Yeah, we're open. We're just waiting for everybody else.
Okay.
To get in.
Let's see who's on the line here.
Not too many folks.
Just the who's 2G? Who's ANC 2G?
That's the host account.
Oh. No. There's someone on the other side. That's a little weird. Well, hello, whoever says ANC 2G.
So ANC 2G attendee, can you identify yourself, please?
That is probably me.
Oh, okay.
I can sign out and re-sign in.
Okay, and I'll pull you in.
Do you want me to sign out or are you going to just pull me in now?
I can.
I'll change my name.
Okay. Just go ahead and pull you in.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Did it bump me?
Now it says that, no, that was Rochelle. It says failed to change role to panelist error code. Let's see.
It's because you're signed in. I got to sign. I'll be right back. I'm just going to sign out. I'll be right back. Do you want to try adding me as co-host now, Alex?
Let's do that. So let me, let's see. Make co-host, here we go.
That worked.
You should be
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, great. Yeah, Tony says that he was on, but I don't see him on here. So I told him to log off and try to come back in.
Tony, I'm sending you my receipt right now. I had to dig it up out of my purse. The email thing didn't work at the Kinko's.
Oh, okay,
Do not yell at me. They had to
okay.
give me a paper copy.
It's 6:29, so we'll get started at 6:30. Perhaps Commissioner Berry will join us in time.
Hi to constituent Jackie Delaney. I see Jackie. Hi, Jackie. She's the best. Zooming in.
Commissioner McCarty, are you back? Okay, great. All right, Commissioner Nigro, getting ready to start. All right, great. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, June the 8th, 2023. This is the June public meeting of Advisory Neighborhood Commission 2G. I am Alexander Padro, the chair. I will ask the secretary to call the roll.
ANC 2G01,
Present.
2G02,
Present
2G03,
is vacant.
2G04, present, 2G05, not present, and 2G06.
Present.
Okay. Chair, I believe we have a quorum.
We do indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. Members of the commission, you have a draft agenda for you. Mr. McCarty, can you put it up on the screen, please? Great. Any questions? And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Nigro, seconded by Commissioner Brown. All in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Great, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. I do not see our, if you can take the agenda down, Commissioner. Okay. Let's see. Don't see our, oh, perhaps
3D is here.
is that
Yeah.
Romeo is in?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and promote him to panelist. So as we usually do, we first turn to representatives from the Metropolitan Police Department so that we can hear from them, ask any questions, and allow them to get back to their duties in keeping us all safe. So you can identify yourself for the record.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lieutenant Romeo. If you haven't met me by now, how's everybody doing?
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Somebody have a question?
Well, no, if you can, present the statistics for the past month, that's how we usually get started, and then we go to commissioner questions, then commissioner questions from the public.
Sure. We've had a busy last month in 2G, particularly the area of the 200 block of N Street. We had several robberies in that block involving juveniles. We were able to close 2 of those cases. The detectives are working on to close that 3rd case that happened right in that block, like 226 N Street. We also had a shooting, 401 N Street, that happened on the 31st of May. right now we have an arrest warrant for an individual who lives in that area. So hopefully we can close that case soon. The other robberies that we had down there in 2G, or actually carjacking, we're seeing an issue where a group of juveniles are in a car. They come up behind the complainant, and they tap the back of the bumper. The complainant thinks it's a accident, so they step out to exchange information, and then the juveniles come up and they take the complainant's car. That's happened once or twice down there in that area. There was an attempt also in front of Howard Theater just recently, but the complainant saw it and was able to drive away. So we're seeing a little of that. You guys are doing a good job down there calling the police when you see juveniles in groups. Continue to do that. That whole area, we're getting crushed with theft from autos and the stolen autos of the Kias and the Elantras. So I would recommend that you guys get wheel locks for steering wheels if you own any, Kia or I'm sorry, Hyundais. Those seem to be getting stolen quite frequently down there. Other than that, we don't have an issue right now with burglaries. Looks like we went down in burglaries. Theft from autos are down, but our thefts and more vehicles thefts are up. I could take any questions if anybody has questions.
Right, questions from commissioners. Commissioner Nigro?
Hi, how are you?
Hey,
I
good
want to
evening.
thank Guy. I want to thank you for your continued patrols. It is appreciated. I know it's school's ending soon, so that's
Yes.
positive, right? We never got that on the head.
Thank
Right.
God.
Yeah, so I'll be working on that over the summer. Maybe there'll be some improvement. But back to the shooting, you say you have an arrest warrant out?
Yeah, we have an arrest warrant out for a subject. If you guys want to email me later, I have that information that I can push out to you guys.
Oh, I will put it out to on my social media.
Yeah, that happened on the 31st at 401 N Street.
Yep.
It's still open, but there is an arrest warrant, and we do have a bolo. So there is a picture of the suspect, and if
Okay.
you guys want to email me on the side, I could push that out to you guys.
Okay, sure. I'll do that because I'll be putting it out. And you mentioned the 200 block of N Street. They're not officially us, but they're
All right,
kind
I
of
apologize.
unofficially us. They consider us
apologize.
part. No, it's okay. They like to be part of the group. So that's actually
Okay.
in Ward 5 now, but we affectionately call them the Enclave. So
Okay, how about the 1600 block of First Street? Like
no,
first in queue. Okay, I didn't think so.
no First
Okay.
Street.
Because they had 2 shootings there within 10 days up in that
Yep.
area. But okay. Is 9th and P, is it 2G02?
Yep.
They're here. Okay.
Mhm.
So I talked to Captain Hong. He said that there's an issue with the liquor store down in that area. There's a lot of loitering. Is that correct?
Is that 9th and P Liquors?
Yeah, 9th and P. He said he was going to get some folks down there on evenings to clean that up. He wanted me to pass that on.
That's
So,
very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions from commissioners? Seeing none.
I
Question.
do, sorry,
McCarty.
Lieutenant Romeo, Romeo. So I have had a lot of constituents raising concerns about 933 N Street Northwest, the Henrietta. It's recently come under new ownership, and all of the tenants are currently being evicted. Neighboring residents have witnessed a lot of, during this process, disturbances, drug deals, some, nefarious activity like that, and they've been calling the police. I'm wondering if, there's anything that you all have experienced or recommendations you would give to residents. Of course, I recommend they call 911 anytime they see something that is illegal or dangerous to the community. But they are understandably concerned about this building being turned over and no security being provided by the owners of the building or support from the Department of Buildings.
Right, exactly. Calling 911, but not just like not just calling 911 saying there's a group of guys out there, and it's possibly that they're, dealing drugs, whatever. We need like specific details are great for those residents to call, like what the subject is wearing. Where are they putting the drugs? Certain things like that are really good. CST, I'm not sure if they know about that area, but all I could do is push that information out, that there's issues. It's 933 N Street. Is that the location?
That is
Okay.
correct.
Okay. And what time of day is this happening?
Usually in the early mornings.
Early mornings.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then I'll have myself and a group of the day work folks come down there as well. During the morning, you said early morning hours, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, that time, or a little bit later?
Yeah, earlier. Usually when I'm getting emails, it's about instances between like 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. So a little
Okay.
early.
Okay, so that's going to fall on the day work folks, myself and the other officers. CST doesn't work during that time, but they do operations. If they do have to come in, they'll come in and do operations down there if it's really bad. What I can do is I can go down there, I can assess the situation. If it's something that CST needs to be aware of, then I'll make that notification and I'll go down there and see if they can turn anything up.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Anybody else?
Anything else from commissioners?
Quickly, I've been getting some inquiries about the all-terrain vehicle with the noise issue. Is there any update on how you're handling that?
Yeah, so we have a task force now.
Okay,
If you want to email me on the side, I could push out the information to you about the task force.
great.
The task force, the ATV task force went into effect 6 months ago. What they really need help with is getting photos of these guys, getting pictures. They got a detective assigned to them. They got several officers and they got a sergeant. A lot of their work is going off those photos of these guys on there. So a lot of the times they're on social media posting. So I hear they're doing really good work. Now in 3D, I can tell you that like during day work and evenings, I haven't heard a whole bunch of calls for the ATVs like it used to be. So where is this happening and what time?
Around on 5th and Florida Avenue, early evenings.
Is it during the weekends? Is this the weekend time they're coming into U Street?
Right, Friday,
Okay.
Saturday, Thursday,
Okay.
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, you can if you want to email me or I can email you, I can give you all their information. I got phone numbers, I got email addresses.
Okay,
If they have a certain date and time location that they're doing this, they'll definitely respond.
okay. Thank you.
So I
Yep.
have a question because it happens consistently at the entrance of 395. And honestly, if I put my lawn chair out there tonight, well, maybe not because of the smoke, maybe they're conscientious, but any other night, they will be zooming into that tunnel down New Jersey Avenue. So are you telling me if I take a picture, you guys can do something with that? Correct.
If you guys are really good about taking videos and you got good cameras that can catch them, that's how these detectives and officers are identifying them. they're able to go on social media, and there's software and there's technology, and that's how that's just what I'm told is that's how they're making a lot of their cases, because they're not going to stop for you, right? So they have to go on social media to do the identification. That's what I'm being told is that how a lot of their investigations are going.
So I could simply, what I label as the grassy knoll by the entrance and literally take some pictures. Okay, well, I think
Yes,
that
because
might be too-
they're posting a lot of that
Okay.
stuff on social media. So
Okay.
the detectives get that and they do a lot of their cases that way.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Mhm.
It's almost every night.
Yeah.
If you live down here, you know. If you know, you know.
Yeah, see, I don't work midnights anymore, but I know it was a huge problem.
It's not at midnight. It'll be happening right now.
well, midnights you come in at 7:30, so it's really not midnight. It's like parachute.
Mhm. Could you give us your email real quick?
Yeah, it's Matthew 2 T's
Mm-hmm.
.Romeo, like Romeo and Juliet, at dc.gov.
I gotcha. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to turn to attendees. Are there any attendees that have a question for Lieutenant Romeo about public safety issues in ANC 2G? Please raise your hand, or if you're on the phone, use *69, and we'll allow you to ask your question. I do see that Rhonda Watkins has a question. Go ahead and unmute, Ms. Watkins, and ask your question.
Hello, Detective Romeo. Is that who this is? Because I'm late coming on.
Lieutenant Romeo, but that's fine.
Lieutenant Romeo. Yes. I guess my question is probably be the same question that I ask every week until something happens. I have sent an email to Assistant Chief Kane, who was on here last month, regarding the uptick in the drug traffic in 2nd Northwest, not just next door to my building, but also in the building where I used to, next door to the building where I used to live. And now it's kind of like spilling over in the parking lot where I park. And I haven't had any response. I haven't seen not one police car. Of course, I'm not here all day long, but it's usually at night when this happens. And I've still noticed the same number of younger folks coming around by the parking lot where which is the back of the building that I used to be in, peddling their drugs. If I can see it, if a police officer happened to ride here, they would see it too. It has gotten to the point where my granddaughter had a friend that was dropping her off. And one of the young boys walked up to her, brandishing a gun, saying, "Oh, that's who you are. I'm just checking to see who you are." So it's getting to that point. I'm a concerned citizen, and I want to feel safe in my community. I want to feel safe in my environment. I don't want to have to worry about whether guns or whether it appears to me that the only way that we may be able to get some response to what's going on around here is if somebody get killed or there's a gun battle going on around here. And that's sad because I'm trying to see what we can do as residents of 2nd Northwest Cooperative to help alleviate this, to help with this situation. I haven't gotten any response from Chief Kane. My next response is just do like I did before, start sending emails to all of the councilmen, all of the police chiefs, commanders on duty, and whoever. But I really want to know what's being done, because it doesn't seem like anything is being done. Nothing. I also watched 2 officers in a patrol car. What were they doing? On their phones. So if anything happened, while they on their phone, they definitely ain't gonna see it. They were sitting on the corner, but what difference does it make? I'm quite sure you do get bored sitting in there, and they might have been looking at cameras or something. I don't know, but I'm just telling you what I've observed. That's my first question. My second question, I realize that there is a program that we can have cameras placed on our buildings that the mayor has. I don't know if anybody's here from the mayor's office. And I wanted to know how we can participate in that particular program.
Yes, Miss Watkins, if I'm saying that correctly. There is something called the camera rebate program. You can go on the MPDC website. It's a public website, and you could apply through the department's camera rebate program, and they can provide cameras for you. That and you're located where? I know you said second.
Northwest Co-op. We're between New Jersey and 5th Street, or you can say 4th and 5th Street, with between N Street and O Street. That's the square block.
Okay, so and where are you seeing the drug dealing going on?
1317 19th Street, 403 N Street. I mean, 1317 5th Street, please.
Okay, so
please let me repeat this.
that's fine.
I used to live in 1317, so it's 1319 5th Street, and it's 403 N Street.
Okay, yeah, so that's 5th and O. That's that co-op. That's that the building right there. We have officers 24 hours a day, right? On all shifts, they're assigned to 5th and O. I'm down there regularly during the day work tour. I'm not saying that this is not happening. It probably happen on evenings and midnights. But I'm asking you if you can send me those emails that you sent out to the chief and everybody else, so I can start talking to you directly. And then I want to push this out. I want to push this out to the officers, because we do in that area have an officer assigned. So I got to figure out, why aren't they, doing anything about all this drug dealing at 5th and O.
Well, we had
a lot of
officer. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's fine. Go ahead.
We had an officer, and I started talking to him. Me and him would talk, and we'd exchange ideas. And he would tell me little things to do, or how I could report things without being known that I was reporting them. But all of a sudden, he's disappeared. I haven't seen him in over a month.
And
he was walking, he was patrolling. It was just one though.
Right. We assign one officer, but it's on all 3 shifts.
No.
If this is happening during the evenings and like the overnight hours, I definitely got to get a hold of those shifts and let them know we're having a problem with dealing down there. Also, I mentioned it before, but we have CST. They go through the entire district and they handle any kind of drug complaints or anything like that. I'll also get in contact with them and let them know that there's a drug issue there. Things that you could do is,
you're using these acronyms. I have no idea who they are.
okay, I'm sorry. It's a crime suppression team. They deal with, so they go more depth than the regular patrol officer in their investigations and patrols. Sometimes they're in unmarks. Sometimes they do operations. They have certain training and techniques to combat any kind of drug problems or any kind of drug complaints.
Okay, crime suppression team.
Yes, crime suppression team.
I've been in this neighborhood for over 40 years. And in fact, I was born in this neighborhood. And I don't plan on this is my intentions. It ain't all in my hands outcome anyway. But I don't plan on Second Northwest. It's not my intentions for Second Northwest to turn into another Surson Quarters. That's it. I got an investment in this community. I got an investment in this property. So that's my intention. So not letting that happen. And if that means I need to get on here every week and do the spiel, I will be on here every week.
Understandable. Do you have an email address or a phone number?
Yes, I do.
Can you give me your email address real quick?
S is in Sam.
Mhm.
R is in Randy, ANDA 21. It's my personal email address
21.
at gmail.com.
Okay, we'll definitely be in touch. And I'll
Okay.
give you more information. I'll send all the information about the camera rebate program. But we'll definitely be in touch about that drug issue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Watkins.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes. No, I don't see any other hands. So, Lieutenant, I believe that's it for our public safety segment for this evening. So unless you have any other announcements that you'd like to make.
Nope, not at this time.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you or one of your colleagues next month.
All right, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. So now we'll move on to announcements from district government agencies. And we'll start with Grace Reeder from the Mayor's Office of Community Relations Services. Bring Ms. Reeder over.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you.
See you all. So I'll just get right into my announcements because I'm sure you guys have a packed agenda as you always do. As I'm sure you guys know, this morning, the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments and District Department of Energy and Environment issued a code purple air quality alert for Washington, D.C. For today. A code purple air quality alert indicates very unhealthy air conditions for the entire public, not just those with respiratory illnesses. So I'm going to be dropping a link in the chat to how Mayor Bowser responded. We suspended several non-essential citywide services. So DPR, DACL, DMV, DDOT, DPW, DOEE, and DCPS were those impacted. So I want you guys to just continue to monitor DOEE's social media, HCMA's social media, and Mayor Bowser's social media for updates on as this progresses, especially over the next couple of days, because we'll still have unhealthy air quality. So that's a great way to stay informed, is following those press releases and looking for social media. And if anything changes, also feel free to email me, or if you guys have questions, you can email me or call 311 for more information about the air quality. I also want to talk to you a little bit about Mayor Bowser's Safer, Stronger DC, which I'm going to be dropping a link in the chat to, the website where you can monitor what we're doing regarding public safety, as well as the Safer, Stronger DC legislation that's going to be having a hearing at the council on the 27th of this month, which I'm sure Brian will talk a little bit about, so I don't want to steal his thunder there. Mayor Bowser also launched the Downtown Action Plan, which builds upon DC's comeback plan and sets specific strategies, programs, and initiatives to reimagine and revitalize downtown, while also identifying specific roles for the district's economic partners. And so the first monthly meeting is going to be on June 15th at 2 p.m. at the Conrad. located at 950 New York Avenue Northwest, which will be hosted by a leadership group steering committee. And then later in July, there will be a vision summit that will include 100 national and local thought leaders who will work together to envision the future of downtown. And there's also going to be other opportunities for the public to engage, including webinars and focus groups throughout the summer. So you can find all that information and much more at reimaginedowntowndc.com. I'm going to be dropping this information in the chat. So you guys can follow along there. I also invite all of you to join us on Saturday to walk with Mayor Bowser in the Capitol Pride Parade and the Mayor's Office of LGBTQ Affairs. We're going to be doing a pre-parade meetup right before the Capitol Pride Parade on Saturday, June 10th at 2 p.m. At the Reeves Center. So this is a great opportunity for you to show your support for the LGBTQ plus community and celebrate diversity here in the District of Pride. If you watch the raising of the Pride flag last week at the Wilson Building, you heard Mayor Bowser say that we are very proud that we are the gayest city in the world. So I hope you all will join us this Saturday at this event, and don't forget to wear your tie-dye and bring your friends and family so that we can make this year's Capitol Pride Parade the biggest and most colorful one yet. Just a reminder of the sequence of events. We're going to be meeting at the Reeves Center at 2 p.m. for a pre-parade meetup, socializing, music, and light refreshments. At 2:45, we're going to be lining up with Mayor Bowser to get ready for the Capitol Pride Parade, and we will begin to walk at 3 p.m. I don't know if you can see my dog on the screen currently. I just got home, so he may be entering the screen shortly as he's very needy right now, so I apologize. And then also Mayor Bowser is also holding a Chief of Police Community Conversation Teletown Hall on Thursday, June 15th at 6 p.m. So I'm going to be dropping the links in the chat there so you can learn more about that. And also the position of Chief of Police, if you know anyone who's interested. And there's also a survey that you can participate in to get communities that allows you to provide your input on your priorities for the next Chief of Police. The survey will close on Wednesday, June 14th at noon. And then rounding it out on the announcements, if you want to be added to the Ward 2 Mokers bi-weekly newsletter, feel free to email me at grace.reader@dc.gov to be added to stay up to date on DC government operations, upcoming events, and much more. You can also follow me on Twitter at Ward2GraceR or on Instagram, Grace Reader DC. So I'm going to be dropping all this information in the chat, including my contact information, since I know I went through that pretty quickly. But outside of that, I open it up for questions.
All right, colleagues, members of the commission, if you have any questions for Ms. Reader, Commissioner Nigro.
Hi, Grace. So, I'm going to be talking about 501 New York Avenue, right? So I'll just tee it up a little bit. 501 New York Avenue is the potential central cell block that the Department of Correction wants to move into my area. And we were not given notice for 2 years. And I was the one who found out about it and I released it. And I can guarantee you, we weren't supposed to know about it. So Grace, I sent an email to Lindsay Parker, the chief of staff for the mayor on June 5th. I haven't gotten a response back. Would you be able to assist with that? This is with the meeting request with key stakeholders. I'm gonna tell you these key stakeholders that if I don't get a response back, it's not, because these are key stakeholders, especially, let me begin with the United House of Prayer. So that institution has been in this neighborhood for decades, and this silence is unacceptable. That's a significant institution here, and let me tell you, the non-response is not good. Boston Properties, Brookfield Properties, Hilton Hotels, and 1100 6th Street. So if you could assist with getting that response for that meeting set up, it would be great.
Yeah, throughout the last month, I've been engaging with DMPSJ and other of the key agencies to make sure that you guys do get a response on this. So I haven't heard back yet on which ANC meeting they will be attending, but I hope it will be the July meeting. And if I have any more updates outside of that, I'll be sure to let you know. So
I want to respond to this email for meeting with the chief of staff. Okay, so as you know, they are not communicating with us because we were not supposed to find out about this. Okay,
I
this
can
is
definitely
clear.
elevate your request to the chief of staff.
So they want to show up at the commission across the street.
Yep, which
Okay.
I flagged to them that's, that it's ANC 2G is the boundaries. I believe there was a mistake on that end due to redistricting. And that's why they were in communication with the Ward 6 one. So I've been putting in that request to make sure that they're coming to do 2G as well, and not just 6E.
Where's the contact with me? I'm waiting. The longer I get no respect, so people who are within the world, who knows how this works, their non-response is their answer, right? This is how this is going to go. And with these significant stakeholders, it is unacceptable. For
I can
these
definitely pass
stakeholders
that feedback
to
along.
be in this email with these stakeholders, holy cow, and that there's no response. That is a wow. All my constituents on here, I see Jackie from United House of Prayer. Jackie, take note. We're ramping it up. The campaign has started.
Commissioner Nigro, am I included on that email that you sent
No,
on the
we're
5th?
not
Can you
meeting
forward
with
it to me
you.
then? No, I know, but can you forward it to me so that I can just make sure
Sure.
that it gets elevated?
Absolutely. You would
Okay.
think,
Thank you.
the chief of staff would be elevated enough. But we know where this is going. Go ahead.
So I have to concur with Commissioner Nigro, but I would go one step further. It's not just a matter of key stakeholders not getting an answer that they deserve. The fact that you know, any constituents that are reaching out about this issue are getting radio silence from the administration, and that is totally unacceptable. I mean, we complain about not having a voice in our democracy, you know, with Congress, when our own local government can't respond on a critical issue like this, where there's been total silence for 2 years.
Yep, 2 years. Well, remember, we weren't supposed to find out about it. So again, yay me. That is everyone that's on this call. That is the main point. We were not supposed to find out about this. Right, Grace?
All right, Grace, we're going to count on you to help to make some communication happen here. All right. Any other commissioners that have any questions or information for Grace? I don't see any one indicating that. So anyone amongst the attendees that would like to ask a question to the mayor's office representative, please raise your hand or dial *69 if you're on the phone. And I don't see any indications of raised hands. So Grace, I think that that's it for your presentation for this evening.
Awesome, thank you. And is there a way for the chat to allow me to put in the information I shared with everyone? I only see the option for hosts and panelists.
No, let's take a look at that again, because it's supposed to be, it says attendees can chat with everyone according to this. So, okay, so panel, because you're a panelist, I had to change that. Okay, so now.
Okay. So is there a way for me to just put the information in for everyone?
You can do that now, or after you go back to.
Perfect, yep. Got it now. Thank you so much.
Hey, Grace, I'm gonna put it on social media too, so everyone can see this email. I'm just putting it out there because we're kind of done with the non-response, so everyone can see that they're not responding.
All right, thank you again.
Thanks, everyone.
Moving on to Ward 2 Representative Brian Romanowski. If we can bring Brian over as a panelist. Brian is Constituent Services Director for Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto. Go ahead, Brian.
Hi, am I able to share my screen at all?
Let me set that up.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think I got it. Can you see that? All right.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Well, good to see you all and happy Pride. I'm sure you're tired of hearing about the budget, but the council has one vote left this coming Tuesday, June 13th on the 2024 fiscal year budget. We plan to send every ANC a list of the final budget numbers for projects in your area. So be on the lookout for that after the final vote next week. We've also started taking fiscal year 2025 requests. So always feel free to send those our way. I have Kennedy Rec Center gym needs and the outdoor tennis court resurfacing on our list already, for example. So always happy to start that list now. I don't remember to change my slides here. In terms of public safety, as she was throughout the budget process, Councilmember Pinto continues to be focused on improving public safety. The violence that we saw just over the border today in Ward 1 in Shaw on T Street was absolutely unacceptable. And we're still, doing every single thing that we can to try to improve the situation throughout the city. One way is the Committee on the Judiciary and Public Safety is holding a public hearing on Mayor Bowser's proposed Safer, Stronger DC bill on Tuesday, June 27th at 12 p.m. I'm going to post a link in the chat with instructions on how to sign up to testify and also the full text of the bill in case you would like to read it. And that is the earliest that the council could hold that hearing. I know a lot of people have said, can't you hold this immediately? But there is something like a 30-day legal review period or something that bills go through when they get introduced. So that was the soonest we could hold that. We're also rolling out other public safety legislation this month, starting with this afternoon when Councilmember Pinto introduced a metro safety bill that would enable civil enforcement of fare evasion on the metro. Some of you might remember in 2018, the council changed fare evasion from a criminal offense to a civil offense, recognizing that people should not be involved in the criminal legal justice system for low dollar offenses like fare evasion, but that unintentionally left WMATA without any enforcement mechanism for the civil crime. And so WMATA has stressed that there's a correlation between fare evasion and more serious crime taking place on the metro. And we know, that's something that we need to address. We also know that many people need more support to afford riding the metro. So she's going to keep working with her colleagues to make sure that metro is affordable. And that includes a letter that she sent today with most of the other council members to various agencies, asking them to streamline the process for distributing kids ride free cards, because that's an important program and would hopefully curtail the need for a lot of juveniles to be fare evading if they can just have these free cards to ride the metro. One of the other photos that you'll see there is of Councilmember Pinto's recent tour of the Department of Forensic Sciences, where she spoke to Director Diaz about how critical it is that the lab gets reaccredited to make sure that people are being held accountable for crimes. And we are confident that they're headed in that direction in the coming months, hopefully over the summer. I think it's a multi-step process, so some portions might be reaccredited before others, but that is something that we need to have happen as a city. On the 501 New York Avenue topic, I know there were a lot of questions from the last meeting that were not answered and remain unanswered. What we do know is that the Daily building that currently houses the central cell block is in an abysmal and inhumane condition, and it does have to be renovated. However, Councilmember Pinto found out about the intended temporary use of 501 New York Avenue the same time that all of you did, and she shares basically all the questions that you do. The Department of Corrections should have been at your last meeting. They should have been here tonight. Councilmember Pinto has called on agency leadership to hold or join a community meeting before your July ANC meeting because we think that that is too long to wait. If the meeting does not take place next week, the council member has asked them to provide written answers to your questions no later than the end of next week. So we've given them a June 16th deadline for that because we know that we all deserve answers and that these agencies have to be accountable to the community. There's a couple of other, I know Grace already mentioned Capitol Pride, which is taking place this Saturday, and hopefully the weather clears up, the smoke clears up. If you'd like to march with our office, I'm going to post a sign up link in the chat. We are meeting no later than 2:30 p.m. on T Street between 14th and 15th Streets. And then the parade goes down 14th Street to Rhode Island Avenue before cutting over to P Street, ending somewhere around 21st Street in DuPont Circle. Please keep this in mind for parking and traffic for Friday and Saturday nights. And I think bigger deal for 2G is the festival, which takes place on Pennsylvania Avenue on Sunday. So there'll be a lot of street closures for that. If you're interested in going to the festival, I think Adina Menzel is the headliner, and there's a lot of free performances. So please be sure to support Capitol Pride. And finally, just a reminder to sign up for our newsletter. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of legislation in the coming weeks. So it's always good to follow us on social media or make sure you have our newsletter. And I will post all the links in the chat that I mentioned. I'll stop sharing.
Great, thank you, Brian. I see Commissioner Nigro already has her hand up. Go ahead.
I'm loving this meeting tonight, Alex. So Brian, I'm a little confused about your statement because there is an email that was sent specifically to the council member, which you're on May 19th, asking for a meeting with her, with these key stakeholders, seeking her support to oppose 501 New York Avenue. And let me tell you, the key stakeholder, again, we're on top of the list, is the United House of Prayer. So her non-response is her answer. You're on this email, and I put it on social media too. Why have we not received a response for the meeting request with her?
Okay, I don't think I realized it was only with her. We've been trying.
I think it says that.
But she also doesn't have the answers that you want. So we're not going
to get the answers, Brian. Here's the deal. We know this already because we weren't supposed to know about this project. So we want a meeting with her. She needs to respond to this email. We are seeking her support in opposition of this project. That is the objective. She represents thousands of United House of Prayer residents, right? Those voters, okay? She represents Douglas Development. She represents Brooklyn Properties. She represents Hilton Hotels. And if you hop across the street, that's Councilmember Allen, but there's probably Boston Properties in Ward 2. We need a response to this email from May 19th. And I talked to you on the phone about it when I was in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think our focus has been, I mean, let me tell you, she'll be happy to have a meeting with all those folks, but I think more importantly, she wants to have a meeting with all of those folks and people that can answer the questions. So
we
want
this meeting with her right away because you need to have that director. She can talk to that director, Faust. He needs to call me. This is unacceptable that he has not communicated with me. It is unacceptable she has not communicated with me. You talk about she knew. I'm the one who found out. Give me a break. We're done with this nonsense. Have her give me a call, and she needs to reach out to Director Faust because if she's talking to him, he should be talking to me. Unacceptable. She is blowing off everyone, and so is he.
I guarantee you she's not blowing off everybody.
Respond to my email. Respond to the email then. Set up the meeting.
Well, let's just make this happen. Again, this lack of communication is beyond embarrassing at this point. It's I don't even have words for it. So
hey, Jackie on the other side, remember the United House of Prayer. They've been blown off now with two things. Unbelievable. Blowing off the entire United House of Prayer.
Let's hopefully make some connections tomorrow. Other questions for Brian from members of the commission? I don't see any hands. Anyone on the line, please raise your hand or your star 69 if you're on the phone so that we can, and I don't see any hands. So Brian, I think that we've exhausted the questions for you for this evening.
Hey, Brian, I tweeted the meeting request to her too. So I'm going to put you on the tweet too. I want to know about this.
Sounds good. And I was going to shout out Commissioner Nigro and Commissioner Berry. You guys are so fast with social media. I sometimes will see a street closure or something happening and I'm like, you guys have already tweeted before we can. So good job. But okay. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Let's see who else we've got from district government agencies. I see Solana Vandernet from Events DC. Let's bring Ms. Vandernet over. I'm sure she's got some announcements for us. Go ahead and unmute.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. My name is Solana Vandernet. I'm the Senior Manager of Community Engagement for the Walter E. Washington Convention Center. I'm happy to serve as a connection point between you and Events DC. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'll put my contact information in the chat. As a reminder, to learn more about Events DC, our programs, initiatives, and other opportunities, visit eventsdc.com. If you haven't already done so, please sign up for our electronic mailing list and follow us on our social media platforms. I'll put this information in the chat too. Regarding the June event calendar here at the Convention Center, for the rest of this month, we have 9 upcoming events, 4 are single days and 5 are multi-days. There's no additional security measures are expected for this month. I would like to highlight 3 of these events. Friday, June 16th through Sunday, June 18th, Awesome Con will be held with an estimated attendance of 30,000. This is the largest event of the month. Wednesday, June 21st through Saturday, June 24th, the American Optometric Association will host their annual meeting with an estimated attendance of 3,600. And on Tuesday, June 27th through Thursday, June 29th, the Modern Day Marine 2023 will be with us with an estimated attendance of 5,500. And then also regarding the community grants, we will be announcing the grants this month, and we will hold information sessions next month with dates forthcoming. And if you're interested in moving forward with this community grant, the application deadline is August 1st. So thank you for letting me join this call, and please let me know if you have any questions.
So for folks that are not familiar with NCC, in addition to the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in our jurisdiction, they also have jurisdiction over the Carnegie Library on Walport Square. So any questions from members of the commission for Ms. Vandernet? I don't see any hands. Questions from attendees, please raise your hand or use *69 if you're on the phone. I don't see any hands there. So Ms. Vandernet, thank you very much for being part of our meeting this evening and for the information that you presented.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night to you. And I believe that those are all the district government representatives, other than the folks from DDOT that are here and from DPW that are here to present separately. But if there's anyone else from the district government agency that would like to make an announcement at this time, please raise your hand so that we can allow you to speak. And I don't see any hands. So we do see a hand here. Hold on a moment. So Inspector Davis. Inspector Davis. Just unmuted, Inspector Davis. And I don't see him. Stephen, were you trying to bring him up? Oh, there he goes. Inspector Davis. Need to unmute, Inspector Davis.
Yes. I just wanted to pass on some information on. We are doing some alley cleaning. The alley cleaning process has started. We did this last month. Most of the inspectors went out and surveyed the alley. Now, I would just like to bring to people's attention, they have to cut their overgrowth back. We also writing citations for that because the guys, the team will be coming through the alley. They'll be cleaning and cutting. No matter how clean the alley is, they are gonna still bring at least a street sweeper through there. But the other alleys that really need cleaning, they're gonna actually have manpower cleaning the alley and cutting the overgrowth back for certain alleys. And please put the trash cans back in. Trash cans come out for the night before at 6:30 p.m. and it should return back onto your property at 8 p.m. the night of collections. You actually could get several citations for your trash can. The cleanliness of it and the tops not being closed. And the purpose of the tops being closed is because not only for the rodents, but also if it rains, it can fill the trash can up with water. And then it becomes too heavy for collections to dump it. So it's very important that you do all of that clean and cut. That will help you help the rodent issue. And if it's any other, they're actually going to do the clean alley twice this year. This is the first round. Then we'll go, after they do they done all the wards, every ward, then we'll go back out and survey the alleys again. And then they'll clean the alleys, probably, I think just before leaf season, it'll be the second round.
So Inspector Davis, you jumped the gun because you were the next item on our agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's not a problem. Commissioner Brown had invited you to make a presentation this evening, so we're happy to have you here from the Department of Public Works, Solid Waste Management Administration. So before I let you, I'll ask Commissioner Brown to introduce you, since you did raise the issue of the alley cleanings. Are these alley cleanings those that have already been identified by either constituent complaints or DPW inspector observations, or how are these alleys being chosen for these cleanings?
No, we're cleaning every alley. Every alley is being cleaned. That's why even the ones that's pretty, that doesn't have a lot of issues, they still gonna bring a street sweeper through there. They still gonna come through the alley. So they tended to all the trash, the bulk, and the overgrowth.
All right, great. Commissioner Brown, did you want to introduce Inspector Davis?
First of all, I'd like to thank him for coming tonight. He's been very instrumental in dealing with some issues up on the western side of 2G01. I'd like for him to also go over the guidelines on trash can replacement due to rat damage, because we seem to encounter several cans that have holes in them and they need to be replaced. If you can go over that for me, I really appreciate it.
Yes. What you can do is call 311 or do the app, but you want to make sure you put rat under rat replacement. And we'll come out, the inspector will come out, and we observe, we have to inspect the can. Because sometimes it's not rat damage. When people put in rat damage, it's because the can is broke or it's been hit by a car, or they left in the alley and car hit it. So they really just replacing the rat damage. But if a can is damaged by a DPW crew, please send that in. You can put it in as a rat damage, but also explain the situation. So that inspector should address that issue also. Any of it's three of us in the ward, but actually one of the inspectors, Ms. Cordell, is out for a while. So it's two right now.
Okay, and the other issue is, which is a common complaint, people have a misunderstanding of what bringing the trash can in from the alley onto their property. Can you explain that part of that?
Yes, the can has to physically go onto your property, not pull back to the gate, it has to be actually on your property. Now, some people have a driveway, but it has to be onto the driveway, not halfway on the driveway. It has to be on the driveway to be totally out of the alley. That's what we mean by removing taking the can out of the alley. And that's 8 by 8 p.m. That's by 8 p.m. the night of your collection. Now, when it's a holiday, your trash day slides. If it's a Tuesday, if it's the holiday is a Monday, your collection day will become Wednesday. The holiday is Friday, your collection day becomes Saturday.
Okay. All right, but I just want to thank you. You all did a great job. Department of Health with Andre Pittman and a couple of the ladies, and I forgot their names, but the results seem to be coming forward. Thank you so much.
And I am working on that issue. You told me that address, that one address.
Okay.
We working on that. We got a response back. From,
great.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Alex, you're muted.
Sorry. Yes, thank you, Inspector Davis. Question for you about how trash pickup is going to be affected by the code purple air quality situation. I understand that several days this week, collections are being suspended. Are they going to slide, or are they just going to be pushed to next week?
Well, I haven't gotten that information. I know the day was the day that they sent us home. We supposed to be back in the office tomorrow, so I don't know how much is going to slide, but I can get that information out. I can get that information tomorrow when I go to work, and I can email you all with the information that I obtain tomorrow when I go into work.
So I see a couple of hands. I think maybe Grace Reeder might have some information for us about that. Grace, you want to unmute?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
You can.
Hi there. So household trash and recycling collections are going to slide. They're not anything that was not collected by 10 a.m. this morning is going to slide to the next day for the remainder of the week through Saturday. So that means that Thursday pickup will now be on Friday, and Friday pickup will now be on Saturday. I'm going to drop a tweet from Mayor Bowser in the chat for everyone that has a really easy shareable graphic for you all and helps explain this. So thank you, DPW, for being on to talk about this.
You're welcome.
Great, that's very helpful. So other members of the commission with questions for Inspector Davis? Commissioner Berry, did I see a hand?
Yes, yeah, you did. Hi, Inspector Davis. How are you?
How you doing?
Good, good. Yesterday, I went by Gibson Plaza Apartments at 1301 7th Street Northwest, and I walked around the property, and there are huge holes in the ground, like huge holes all throughout the property. They tried to put like rocks in there and tried to stop it, but I'm guessing there are rats burrowing in the ground, sometimes through concrete. It's extreme, like huge, like 6-inch holes in the ground. They've been trying to get someone out there to fill the holes. They cannot pass their inspection. That's coming up on July 10th, unless that is done. Is there any way someone could, come out there and take a look at it, or why there's such, it's unbelievable to see. The grounds are maintained very well. The property, the landscaping, you can see that there are new holes, even when there's been rocks or concrete placed in there. Is there anything we could do about that?
Well, I can contact DOH, but they're a commercial property.
Okay.
It's really up to them to obtain the things they need to correct that situation. Now, I could contact DOH, they might assist them and give them information on how to. But I could say this because I normally attend the academy, which they having next week.
Okay.
Those bushes, most of the properties that put bushes, they shouldn't, because that gives them the high. That's why they barreling over there, because that's in the shadow of everything. Nobody can see them. So a lot of businesses now, like with downtown, they begin to take those bushes up because that is giving them their hiding place. And that's why they probably got like hundreds and hundreds of them over there. If it's that kind of problem, they got a lot, and they're gonna have to put in a lot of work to get it abated. But I'll contact DOH and see if they can, and let them know that they can meet me over there. We can go have a talk with them. And I don't know how much DOH would do, because it is a commercial property.
All right, thank you for that.
You're
Should I contact you or put you in contact with the people there? How do I follow up?
You can, if you got some contact with them, for them, you can send it to me. Then that'd be easier for me to be able to reach out to them.
Okay, your email, just.
It is Harold, HAROLD
Okay.
@davis@d.gov.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's one more thing I want to say. Trash bags. Your trash bag should not be placed on the ground beside your container. Plastic bags in the District of Columbia by itself is against the municipal regulations. They only should be placed inside of a container at all times. Recycling should not have any plastic bags. All your recycling should be placed in the can openly. You should be washing out the containers so there's no sweet juice or any food smell, so that the rodents can smell it or cause an insect. Because also the violation is also dealing with insects. Insects, if you got a lot of flies and all that, that's also the same thing in the improper storage with the rodents. It's the same thing.
All right, any other questions or issues for Inspector Davis from commissioners? And if not, I do see some hands, but if you have additional questions for Inspector Davis, please use the raise your hand feature or *69. And I saw a hand from Ms. Watkins. Ms. Watkins, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. I was listening to Commissioner Berry talk about the red situation in the Berwyn, and I've noticed the same thing, not just around the co-op around 5th Street, but also over by Bunday and a couple of places up off of 5th and O Street. And my question to you is, I heard you say that those are commercial properties. I've noticed that the Berwyn is like right where the fence is, because I'm not sure if y'all consider 2nd Northwest or this other building that I saw commercial property or private property, but the Berwyn is like where the fence is, so it's underneath of there. I'm not sure if this is something that we should look into or have management do this. So I'll be able to address it with the management office here.
So Inspector Davis, if you could just clarify between commercial property and multifamily residential, because
yes, commercial property, it starts with your businesses.
Okay.
4 units up, 4 units or more. Those are considered more of is commercial. We do have some condos. If it's 2 or 3 or less condos, they can get city collection if they face in the street. They can get city collection. So that is the difference between commercial and residential. So some people do say, well, apartment building is residential. Yes, it is. People do live there, but we consider residential is the single family homes, or those are like, oh, got 2 families in the house. That's residential.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, if you say Bundy Field, I'll reach out to DOH about Bundy Field. But another thing about Bundy Field is people that have that dog parks, I'm just hoping people are actually picking up behind their pets, because that is a great food source for rodents. That gives them nutrients and everything. So that's why it's best to please pick up behind your pets.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I don't see any other hands from attendees, so I want to thank you, Inspector Davis, for coming out this evening and sharing information about solid waste issues, and even getting into the Department of Health's bailiwick with the rodents as well. So thank you very much, and
You're welcome.
Your continued efforts on our behalf.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Our next presentation is going to be from the District Department of Transportation. This is on the Florida Avenue Bus Priority Project. So I saw a couple of self-identified DDOT representatives, Jamie Carrington and Melanie Marino. Move them over as presenters. And if there's anyone else from DDOT that needs to be presenting, also please raise your hand so that we can identify.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, when I was converted to a panelist, I missed a few seconds, but I'm Melanie and I'll be presenting. Should I go ahead and share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Not seeing your video though, so I'm not sure. There you go. Great.
Hello. Yeah, sorry. It changed me to panelist and I like lost a few seconds. Great. And everyone can hear me okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. How does that look?
Yes,
Great.
we can see the presentation.
Great. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for having us on. My name is Melanie Marino, and I am on DDOT's bus priority team. I am the deputy project manager for our Florida Avenue Northwest Northeast project. The project and manager, Matt Hendrickson, is on paternity leave. Next time you see him, be sure to congratulate him. His wife just gave birth to a baby girl. So I'll be walking through the project today. And our team manager, Jamie Carrington from DDOT, is on as well. So just a quick run through of what I'll be talking about. First, I'll just touch on the bus priority program first and just mention what the program overall works to do. Then we'll go into Florida Avenue and talk a little bit about the background and some of the thoughts we have so far. We'll open it up for questions and discussion. And then when I finish the presentation, I'll make sure everyone has contact information for me and the bus priority team. So the bus priority program is a program from Mayor Bowser's office, and it works to improve bus speed and reliability for riders across the whole city. We have projects in all 8 wards, and that is because faster and more reliable transit equals better access and to opportunities, jobs, services that people need across the city. The pandemic really highlighted the fact that a lot of our essential workers is who is using public transit. And so on the bus priority team, we're just working to make sure them and others have the reliable service that they need. So in order to make buses more reliable and improve bus speeds, the bus priority program has a toolbox. It's a number of treatments that can kind of be applied to different corridors based on the situation and the surroundings and the engineering as well. So the entire program has 51 projects in total. Today, we're going to be talking about number 20, Florida Avenue. That number does not mean anything in particular. I think we just had to assign it something. So we're talking about Florida Avenue and in particular, a little over a mile stretching from 9th Street Northwest, where it meets U Street, to 1st Street Northeast. So, some of the main goals with Florida Avenue, we're all familiar with the fact that there's quite a bit of congestion on Florida Avenue. So first and foremost, we're looking to improve bus speeds and reliability. A very close second is to improve safety on the corridor, especially for vulnerable road users. So anyone not in a vehicle, anyone walking, biking, our community members with disabilities, our senior community members, make sure everyone is able to use the corridor safely in whichever way they choose. We're also going to be looking at smoothing out pickups and drop-offs. And that refers to things like when Ubers come, pick people up, drop people off. There's a lot of nightlife on the western end of the corridor near U Street, as well as a lot of food pickups and drop-offs. So as we do this, we're being mindful of those types of uses as well. And we also are definitely keeping mind to the businesses that have needs along the corridor when they need to have delivery trucks for their products and other different loading needs. So the first step we do in our bus priority projects is we think about what the key issues on the corridor are. And so in the case of Florida Avenue, again, roadway safety is very important. Our Vision Zero team is actually simultaneously conducting a road safety audit at the same time. So because unfortunately, Florida Avenue is on our high injury corridor network, it sees a relatively high number of crashes and unfortunately injuries and occasionally fatalities, which we would like to just avoid completely. The curb access needs with a lot of great restaurants and venues on Florida Avenue, want to make sure people are able to pick up the food, drop off people when they're going out to the area. and as well as a lot of commercial loading activities that take place. And of course, the bus priority program works to improve bus operations. The buses that go down Florida Avenue are actually some of the district's most used routes. So we have a lot of passengers, we've got a high passenger volume and slow travel speeds, and that's not a great formula for anybody. And last but certainly not least, we are being mindful to bike network plans. So Florida Avenue is not the most comfortable cycling experience at the moment. And this paying mind to the bike network could mean a number of things. It could mean either improvements on Florida Avenue, or it could be ensuring that parallel streets have bike lanes so that there are safer options for people to choose. So there are a number of other projects going on in the area as well. I'm sure some of you are familiar with at least a few of them. We have our other bus priority project on U Street, which we are doing them side by side to ensure that the projects connect well. It would be kind of weird if there was no flow between the two. There is an S Street revitalization project, which will take place mostly around that post office that has its own little island. There is the DC Water Project, which I'm sure we all know about. It's been going on for a little while, and I know everyone's pretty eager for it to wrap up. There is also DDOT is conducting a New York and Florida Avenue improvements, otherwise known as Dave Thomas Circle. Down the line in the future, we will be expanding our efforts to improve bus service along more of Florida Avenue. We'll be picking up where this current project stops at first, and then we'll be going down to 8th Street Northeast. And then there is the WMATA bus network redesign, which is a regional effort to improve bus service across the DMV. Any specific questions, I'd like to refer you to WMATA. Their website should be pretty easy to find, and it should be pretty easy to find the information there. In terms of buses along Florida Avenue, nothing is set in stone on WMATA's end, but from what we've heard, bus service will at least stay the same, if not get better. So on the DDOT end, we really want to do what we can to work with WMATA to get bus improvements all around. So as I touched on earlier, Vision Zero is conducting a road safety audit at the same time. More people on buses leads to a general tendency to have less people in cars. Less cars means less crashes, so better transit does loosely correlate to a safer corridor. So we took this as the opportunity to do these both. Unfortunately, Florida is a tier 1 corridor on the district's high network injury. It's number 4 overall, and that means that it has a relatively high number of crashes. In the 5-year period listed here, there were over 700 crashes, which unfortunately included almost 200 injuries and 2 fatalities. So really want to put some synergy into there to make sure everyone's safe. So as for the buses that are on Florida Avenue, we've got the 90, the 92, and the 96. And as I mentioned, these are some of the district's most utilized routes. So we've got almost 15,000 daily riders, which is quite a good amount of people. Of the people on these buses, 83% are people of color, and a little bit over half are considered low-income households. So this tells us that people relying on the bus, we can do what we can. We can help improve their commutes for people who are really relying on the bus. And as far as, and in terms of the current performance, fortunately is a little bit lacking. There's a lot to be desired. 79% on time is the city standard. And unfortunately, the 90 and the 92 have a 70% on time rating, meaning that approximately 70% of buses are on time, gives it a D. And then 96, unfortunately, is a little bit lower with 65% of buses on time with an E. And this all works out to the average bus speed being 6.7 miles per hour, which just really isn't acceptable for people who need to go across the city to get to their workplaces or access other services. So this is what the roadway looks right now in the portion of Florida Avenue that we're looking at. In general, there is a 45-foot right of way. There are 2 travel lanes in each direction with no parking, and standing and stopping allowed on the curbside, I believe, but no parking. The exception is there are about 2 blocks on the west end of the corridor and 2 to 3 blocks around North Capitol on the east part of the corridor that we're looking at that are a little bit wider, that have 5 lanes. But this is the vast majority of the area that we're looking at right now. AADT, that acronym stands for Average Annual Daily Traffic. We're looking at about over 11,000 to about 15,000 cars, which is, it's about a moderate amount of traffic. There's a good amount of congestion up at the U Street end at 9th and 7th. And then the street kind of opens up, and while buses are still moving slow, unfortunately, vehicles tend to speed up in this area, which leads to some of the safety concerns that we're looking at. So being mindful of speeding up the bus and keeping people at manageable speed at the same time is a big part of this project. So as for which buses are here, we've got the 90 and the 92 run from U Street, and they go for the entire length of the project area. The 96 peels off at New Jersey Avenue. Headways, in terms of headways, the 90 and the 92 combined give a 10-minute headway. And that means that within 10 minutes, if you're waiting at a bus stop, within 10 minutes, either a 90 or a 92 would arrive to pick you up. The 96 is a little wider. A 96 would come pick you up within 20 minutes, but the 3 of these combined give about a 6-minute headway. So even though these buses are relatively quite frequent in the district, they're still experiencing a lot of congestion and a lot of slow speeds. The other thing to point out on this diagram is the circles with the numbers. So these are bus stops with ridership numbers, average weekday ridership, and that includes people getting on and off of the buses. So they vary quite widely in terms of who is using which stop. The Georgia Avenue stop sees over 1,600 people per day, whereas some of these smaller stops see as low as 12. And as you can see, they're not all spaced consistently. So that's one of the other things we can do. I'll touch on that later, but making sure stops are consistent really helps speed up the bus and keep it moving. So these are the speeds of buses along the corridor. This red block, if you can see the numbers, the darkest red is 4 to 7 miles per hour, which is really quite slow. And we really see that along towards 9th, Georgia, and New Jersey is where buses really get caught. And then down towards Dave Thomas Circle, buses are moving up to 7 miles per hour, which is it's just not helping get people where they need to go. The middle of the corridor on average sees about 10 to 15 miles per hour. But that all comes out to an average of, again, 6.7 miles per hour, which is just, it's not helping people. And when we get to the PM peak, unfortunately, we get even slower speeds. These black segments are actually under 4 miles per hour. So there are sections of the corridor where buses are moving less than 4 miles per hour. So we're really looking at what we can do to help buses avoid that sluggish, congested speeds that they have right now. So the toolbox I mentioned earlier, these are the tools that we can use to achieve our goals of helping the bus not get stuck and making it more reliable. These all depend on location based on which one we decide to use. 2 on the top left is transit signal priority, and on the bottom right is queue jumps. And these 2 tools have to do with traffic signals. So transit signal priority in the top left is a device that can't be seen with the plain eye. It's in traffic signals, and it can sense a bus approaching. And if the light is about to turn red, it can hold it green for the bus for a few more seconds. So it can help speed the bus through intersections. Queue jumps are there's a different signal panel for bus operators, and it allows buses to go first before general traffic. For example, when there's a bus on the curbside and then the next block has parking and the bus has to merge into traffic, these are really helpful for that situation. We've got perhaps the most visible tool in our toolbox is the bus lanes. I'm sure you've all seen these around town. We call them red carpet on the team. They can be either along the curb or they can be 1 lane offset from the curb. We also do a lot of pedestrian improvements. Our bulb outs, the second from the left on the top, is where we extend the curb to help people walk right onto the bus. This is really good for seniors and community members with disabilities, as they don't have to make the giant step up to the bus because the bus is essentially level with the curbside. And the bus also does not have to weave in and out of traffic because it's able to stop in its lane. On this pedestrian safety measures picture, we've got an example of some light turn hardening where a vehicle making this turn would have to slow down, which definitely aids pedestrians crossing in that manner. And then we've got curbside management, which is basically just how we manage the parking signs along the curb. This is a picture of a pickup drop-off zone instead of parking. So this would be an area where Ubers, for example, could drop somebody off. And then one of the last things we do is bus stop rebalancing, which is just making sure that bus stops are laid out consistently so that the bus doesn't have to stop at every single block and lose a lot of time that way. So finally, this is our project timeline. Right now, we are doing the kickoff. So this is our kickoff presentation. We've just started. We haven't decided anything yet. We're just letting the community know that, hey, we're going to conduct a bus priority project to make buses go faster and help a lot of the community members out. As we move through the year and get into summer, fall, we'll work on our concept development. And this is where we start using those tools I just talked about to identify solutions. We'll come up with a few alternatives and we'll hold public meetings to solicit community feedback, comments, questions, concerns on some of the ideas we have. As the year comes to a close, we'll go ahead and finalize that concept and we'll present to the community and we'll let everyone know what we've chosen. And then once we hit 2024, we'll begin our official design process. We'll issue a notice of intent. 2024, we'll see our final design. And then 2025, we'll see some construction and we'll be able to start implementing our road improvements. So before we wrap up, this is our contact information. Jamie, if you wouldn't mind adding the feedback form in our email to the chat, that would be super great. The bus priority at dc.gov email, I personally monitor. So if you'd like to send something, I myself will be reading it. Feel free. Any questions, comments, concerns? We've also got a feedback form on the website, which asks a few more specific questions. It'll ask you what's working, what's not working. Everyone, please feel free to submit comments that way as well. And thank you everyone for your time. In this white box on the bottom right, we've got our personal emails. Please feel free to use those as well. Matt Hendrickson, the project manager, should be back by the end of the month. And in the meantime, myself and Jamie will be happy to answer questions via email. Thank you.
Great, if you can take down the presentation. And since Commissioner Brown's single member district will be most affected because it abuts Florida Avenue, we'll give him the opportunity to ask the first questions.
Thanks for your presentation. Yeah, it's quite interesting what's happening on Florida Avenue, particularly in conjunction with the DC water project. Good thing we're going to have a couple of years to get past that. But I think there's some pros and cons both ways, because a lot of times the buses block traffic. It impedes people from being dropped off at certain locations. So I think that needs to be something that's part of the planning process. Make sure the spacing is adequate for the needs of the community. In addition to that, we have several handicapped individuals. You know, you got to make sure we take care of them and give them safe passage, at least across the street, and conveying up and down the streets. So those are my couple of concerns.
Thank you. Yeah, we will take note of everything and make sure we include all these different angles and some of the ones you brought up as well.
Okay.
Commissioner Mary.
I really do appreciate the presentation. I thought it was great, especially when you had the speeds listed for how slow and how fast they go at certain locations. I have some concerns though, because as someone who's been living here, I see Vision Zero as being a disaster, especially on 9th Street. where the bike lanes were installed. I don't feel like those should have been there. And I've heard that, you know, there's a lot of community engagement, but I've lived here for a very long time and I didn't know anything about it. No one asked me. I didn't have a commissioner come and ask me how I felt about it or didn't hear about it in any type of any particular way. So, and I'm guessing a lot of that happened during COVID when people were not paying attention. So I want to make sure that community engagement is really something that you guys do, because as you can see, it's very important that you get the opinions of people who live in this community, because we're affected by it and we have to live through those consequences. I just want you to know, like when you see those speeds where it says less than 4 miles per hour, less than 7 miles per hour, cars are also going that speed as well. They, you know, dedicating a bus lane to the bus, who, by the way, now has a camera on it to take pictures and issue tickets to people. Doesn't seem like it's going to help traffic. It's not going to help people have a better experience on the road. It's going to create a lot of frustration. A lot of times when you have those new traffic changes, what happens is more accidents occur. People are definitely disgruntled because there's new traffic patterns that they have to learn. I just want to make sure that the community engagement is real engagement and not you just sending out, you know, coming to an ANC meeting instead of, and actually involving the community, because that's how you really get real feedback. Because what happened on 9th Street for Vision Zero is not a plan that a lot of my constituents support. Some of them do. And, you know, I'm happy for those people who got exactly what they wanted. But I'm hearing a lot of complaints about what's going on. And 9th Street rolls right into Florida Avenue right there. That's a very busy intersection. And a lot of times with those changes, y'all just install cameras and that's how people find out what the rules are. And that's not how real community engagement should be. So I really implore you to reach out to this community and involve them and not just make them a fundraiser for the city and not just make their commute more difficult or longer, because that's also not something that that DC wants, that the people here want. We're not just concerned about buses, you know, we're concerned about all people here and it needs to be equitable. What you showed didn't necessarily show that if a Florida Avenue is only 2 lanes, that's very busy, especially over there by the Howard Theater, Florida Avenue and 7th Street Cross. That's very busy. Taking a lane away is a huge change for what could happen for the people who live over there.
Yeah, thank you for your comment. The first thing I can say about bus lanes is we definitely haven't decided on what the concept is going to be. That's just one of our tools. So that's not set in stone. We have a few projects where we haven't put bus lanes in as well. Okay. So that is definitely something we consider. We know that 2 lanes on the roadway can be like quite a squeeze, like you said. And Jamie, is there anything to add about community engagement and part of our process that we do?
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you, Commissioner, for your comments. I mean, I think that this is very much the beginning of the process right here, and so any kind of help that the ANC can give us in terms of helping us connect with your constituents would be greatly appreciated. If there are any listservs or you know, ways to reach your constituents, we would definitely appreciate. Drop the web link in the chat there, and please share this with anybody that you are already in touch with, because we do want to make sure that we're getting as many voices as we can.
I will do that. Also, you know, the Board of Elections, they have lists of every constituent that can vote in the city. And we got that list when we were running for office and when we had to go around and get signatures. I'm certain they would possibly offer that to you, especially if it's something that could benefit or a consequence is going to be suffered by the community. So reach out to people and actually speak to them. Like, just going along with a plan that a city planner made, but not listening to the people shouldn't be your goal. Your goal should be to make the city better for the people who live here, not just, oh, well, we did stick to the plan. No, the people here, are they living here? Are they happy? Okay, is life more difficult? That should be a part of your goal. So yeah, if I don't know, maybe one of the other commissioners are aware if those lists are available to, to other agencies. I don't know if it's considered private information or not, but these people want to be contacted instead of having to be reactive, and the only thing they can do is just complain to us about it.
So, Commissioner, certainly the district government has the ability to do mailings to residents based on the Board of Election registration information. They just choose not to. I can't say that, except for one exception a number of years ago, that I've ever even gotten a single postcard about a Office of Planning or Department of Transportation or other agency initiative that was soliciting input. Maybe this will be an exception. We'd love to see that happen, but yes, do they have the ability to do it? Absolutely. Do they do it? Rarely seen. Okay. So, and I like Commissioner Berry do have some significant concerns, but I am heartened by the statement that the red carpet is not a done deal, because I regularly drive on 8th Street, Northwest, and on other streets where those red carpets are in place, where you have many more lanes of traffic going in a single direction, and it works much better there. Where you've got a situation where you've just got 2 lanes in each direction to go through, and where you have the significant traffic volumes, especially during rush hours that we have there. There's a significant concern that I've heard from residents in Commissioner Brown's single member district about displacement of traffic onto adjacent residential streets, such as S Street, which is undergoing a road diet as part of the S Street revitalization project, with the intention of increasing the sizes of the sidewalks and slowing down the traffic. So to add additional traffic where you're already facing some significant challenges in terms of pedestrian safety as well as vehicular safety on some of those adjacent streets, seems like a recipe for failure. But you have a number of different tools. I've seen some of the tools work effectively, especially the bus queuing, where you've got a curb lane where buses are stopped and giving them priority beyond cars in the travel lane in order to be able to move those along. I think those work well. We've seen those on 7th Street in our jurisdiction. And so that's a tool that I certainly would advocate for. Generally, the stretch of Florida Avenue, is borne out by the statistics, is very unsafe. We've had a number of incidents where children and families have been stricken by vehicles as they were trying to get to school in the morning, for example. So, there are some significant high priority safety improvement should be undertaken in the stretch of Florida Avenue before we all of a sudden give up that curb lane exclusively to buses. So those are my comments. Any other commissioners have any comments related to the presentation? Commissioner Brown.
Yes, another thing came to mind in conjunction with the S Street revitalization. I believe the S Street portion between New Jersey and Florida Avenue is going to be taken away, which means that the traffic coming down 4th Street is going to be diverted into the neighborhoods, and that's going to be even more congestion in that area. So that's something else to keep in mind.
Which could increase fatalities because there's neighborhood kids, there's children walking to school. I think all these issues need to be considered. And I hope that everyone that's on the call, like constituents, that you weigh in on when you hear topics, when we have these agencies come in, like it's great that you're at the meeting, but get involved, write a letter at the end where they give their information, like These people need to hear from you. They need to know. They can't just hear it from the commissioners because it's like, oh, well, that's that one person. It's not just when we speak, we're speaking for multiple people. I have constituents who love the bike lanes. I have constituents who don't care about parking, you know, and I hear from them too. But I also get most of my complaining from people who are going without, you know. So when you are, you know, redesigning these bus lanes and you have more traffic going into neighborhoods, you know, fatalities might decrease there, but increase in the residential, on residential areas. Yeah, and that was a great point.
All right, any comments or questions from attendees, please raise your hand or dial *69 if you're on the phone. And I don't, yes, so we've got Mr. Romanowski from the council member's office.
Hey, yes, thank you. I just wanted to add, I don't know if it was on your map of concurrent projects, but the Dave Thomas Circle project is really exciting. And I always think that a lot of the traffic problems on the parts of Florida Avenue that are in 2G relate directly to Dave Thomas Circle traffic. So I'm really hopeful that once that's demolished, hopefully in the next month or two, and the road is straightened there, that will help also alleviate a lot of traffic for everybody and make everything run a little bit smoother. So just want to mention that.
Thank you for that. Any other attendees? Please raise your hand or use *69. And I don't see any other comments for you. So thank you, DDOT representatives, for coming out at the beginning of this process. We look forward to being engaged and encouraging our constituents to be engaged in the process over the course of the summer and the fall. And we look forward to seeing improvements in terms of safety on this very dangerous corridor, and perhaps some enhancements to bus service, as long as we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is TG Cigars at 1120 9th Street Northwest, and I'm actually going to recuse myself and ask Commissioner Nigro to chair this portion of the meeting, but I don't see, there goes Commissioner Nigro. So I am going to turn off my camera and then I will come back when this item has been concluded. And Commissioner McCarty ready to present.
Wait a minute, Stephen has control, right?
Yes, he does.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, so we are going to talk about, we have TG Cigars at 1120 9th Street Northwest. We are discussing tonight approval of their settlement agreement and withdrawal of the protest for their Class C tavern license. So who is on the call from TG Cigars? Raise your hand. Anyone? Was anyone supposed to come, Stephen?
Yes, we have Risa Harao, and I just promoted a panelist.
I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing
Thanks-
good. And if my
thanks for
setters
coming.
start barking, sorry in advance.
Okay. Alrighty. So, Stephen, do you want to tee us up?
Yeah, of course. So hi, everybody. So this settlement agreement has been in the works since actually pre-2G. Started off in 2F, which is now my district, 2G04. We hit the ground running with this as in January. We've been working very diligently both with TG Cigars and their team and the group of 5+ at the Whitman, which is comprised of, it's a group of residents, constituents in 2G04 residing in the Whitman on the corner of 9th and M, adjacent to TG Cigars, the original protest group for the settlement agreement. You know, the settlement agreement has actually already been signed by the protest group, by the group of 5+. I actually just dropped that in the chat in case anybody wants to look. But really the big kind of key points that the group and all of us were trying to hammer down were noise mitigation strategies, we got to a good point there where all groups feel comfortable adding enhanced signage throughout the premises of TG Cigars, working, to incorporate that into business practices, as well as with patrons, closing hours as well for the summer rooftop garden on the back of TG Cigars, and parking. So those are really kind of the three big buckets of concerns from 2GO4 constituents, the group of 5+ Protestant group. And so really excited that we kind of brought it all together. As of today, the group of 5+ has already signed onto the settlement agreement. TG Cigars has also faithfully signed that settlement agreement. And so I would just like to make a motion for the ANC2G to endorse that settlement agreement and sign on as an additional party while withdrawing the protest before ABCA.
So let's pause for a second, Stephen. Let's see if anyone has any questions from the commissioners. Any question from the applicant? Do you have anything to say?
I do not.
Okay, great. Okay, any questions from the community concerning this? As I visited with Stephen, this was very controversial, and I'm glad it finally worked out because it's a great place, but it has to work with the neighbors and all that. And Stephen, you did a great job with this. So anything? No comments? Anything in the comment there, Stephen? No. Okay. All right.
I do have a comment. It's from
Okay.
Lauren, but it's saying that they didn't get it, but it's showing that it dropped the file to everybody from me. But I can definitely get that out to folks. Lauren, if you want to give me your email, I would be happy to send that to you via email after this call. If that's okay with you.
Okay. So we don't have any comments from the audience. Either press *9 or raise your hand, but I don't think there's anyone. All right, Stephen, you want to go ahead and redo your motion? I'm sorry, I paused it one more time.
Of course. So I move for ANC2G to sign on to the settlement agreement before us between ANC2G, TG Cigars, and the group of 5+ Protestant group from the Whitman condominium building, and to withdraw the protest between those three groups that is currently before ABCA.
Okay, and a friendly amendment to that we communicate that to ABRA.
I accept your friendly amendment.
Okay, any questions from the commissioner about the motion on the table?
Second.
Okay, Tony seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, raise your hand. Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, no, thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you for your time, both parties, and Stephen. It's great. Good to see it worked out.
Thank you, Commissioner Nigro. Item 8 on the agenda is a matter in Commissioner Brown's single member district. This is a resolution supporting the naming of an unnamed alley on Square 475, 500 blocks of S Street and Florida Avenue. And so, Commissioner Brown.
This had been previously undertaken by 6E. I think at that point in time, everybody was in favor of the renaming of the alley. So this is a new pursuit by 2G to move forward that same renaming of the alley to the Harmonium Alley. So it's been something that's been talked about for years. So I am in complete support of that, to recognize the graveyard of the Black individuals from that era.
So just a clarification, ANC 6E's action was to recognize the what we would call the lost African American cemetery that existed there from 1829 to 1857, and to ask the district government to pursue a commemorative work that could be installed in association with the S Street project. So this resolution is specifically to name the alley, which does not have a name, so that there is additional recognition for this historic feature in 2G01. And if anybody has any additional interest or questions about the cemetery that was lost, but it was on that block, there's actually a website. You can go to harmonianshawdc.com or just Google Harmonian, HARMEON cemetery, and you can see a video. You can download a brochure and find out more about some of the notable people that were buried there, and some of them may still be buried. That's another story. So, questions about the resolution? None from the commission. Questions from attendees? So please raise your hand or dial *69 on the phone. Don't see any comments there. So would you like to make a motion, Commissioner Brown?
Go ahead, Alex.
I move that Advisory Neighborhood Commission 2G approve the resolution requesting that the district government officially name the alley on the on Square 475 as Harmonian Cemetery Alley, and that we communicate that to both the Council of the District of Columbia, to Ward, to Councilmember Brooke Pinto, and the Office of Planning's Historic Preservation.
Second.
Been moved by myself and seconded by Commissioner Brown. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. And moving on to number 9 on the agenda, the status of the special election for the ANC 2G03 commission seat. Those of you that live in ANC single member district 2G03 are aware that Commissioner Lopez, who was elected in the last election to represent 2G03, resigned his office in order to relocate. That seat is currently empty. The Board of Elections has received petitions from 3 potential candidates for this office. The challenge period for those petitions ends tomorrow, after which time the Board of Election will determine how many candidates are eligible to compete for the vacancy. The election for that seat will be conducted by the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions at a meeting, a public meeting of Advisory Neighborhood Commission 2G. We have been asked by the OANC not to get into any further details until we are able to determine that there is more than one candidate that has passed the requirements. And then at that point, we will move forward with trying to schedule a meeting in order to be able to allow enough time for those constituents to learn about the candidates and prepare to vote. We may have to hold a special meeting rather than having that election on the July 13th meeting, but the executive committee will work on making that determination. Sorry about that. And we will provide notice probably in about a week's time. So, any questions on part members of the commission? Yes, Commissioner Barrett.
So July 13th, that's our next meeting. Are we break in August, right?
Correct.
Right.
We are not scheduled to meet in August, but again, it would better accommodate the community. We could potentially hold a meeting in August. The election has to be held during a meeting and for a 4-hour period. And there has to be in person, so we will need to make arrangements at either the library or the recreation center or some other public building in the neighborhood. And while the meeting can be hybrid, in other words, we have to have at least 2 commissioners present in the physical space. The other commissioners are able to be virtual in order to make up the quorum.
Okay, so we might possibly have this in August just to be accommodated.
It's possible.
Okay, just
Any other questions? I see one hand that is raised. And go ahead, Ms. Watkins.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, I'm just confirming what you said. July 13th is the regular ANC meeting, and that's when you have more details as to where the special election is going to take place and whether it's going to be hybrid or online at the elections meeting.
Okay, so in about a week, in consultation with the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions, we will have a proposal for when to conduct the meeting, which then the executive committee will vet. Then we will make a public announcement. It may be held at the meeting on July the 13th, or we may hold a special meeting exclusively to handle that business.
Thank you.
All right. Any other hands? I don't see any. So we will now move on to administrative matters, beginning with approval of minutes of the May 11th, 2023 meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting with any corrections submitted to our recording secretary.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Been moved by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner McCarty, that we approve the minutes. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Mr. Treasurer.
Yes. I know I sound like a broken record, but still, as of this day, we have not gotten a penny from the Office of ANC. Okay, but let me go ahead and make these motions to approve these expenses for this month. We have the first one. I move that ANC 2G reimburse Commissioner Barry for the incurred expense of reproduction of the monthly agendas for the June 8th meeting in the amount of $40.10.
And is there a second?
A second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner McCarty. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye. One abstention.
Aye.
One abstention.
So that's no, 4 yeas,
Yes.
no nays, and 1 abstention. Commissioner Barry.
Right.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Next expense is, I move that ANC 2G reimbursed Commissioner Nigro for the incurred expense of reproduction of the monthly agenda for the June 8th meeting in the amount of $28.62.
Is there a second?
second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner Barry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye.
Abstain.
Yes.
Abstention. So that is 4 yeas, no nays, 1 abstention. Commissioner Nigro, motion passes.
Thank you. Expense for Karen Yaley. I move that ANC 2G reimbursed, pay, let me get this right. I move that ANC 2G pay Karen Yaley for the incurred expense of providing web service and minute preparation for the June 8th, 23 meeting in the amount of $275.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay.
Motion made by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner Nigro. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
2 more. I move that ANC 2G reimburse Commissioner Alex Padro for the incurred expense of payment for Zoom One Pro monthly meeting fee for the ANC June 8th meeting in the amount of $16.95.
Is there a second?
I second.
Then moved by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner McCarty. I saw his hand go up first.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raising your hands.
Aye.
And I abstain because I'm the payee. So
Right,
motion
okay.
carries by a vote of 4 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention.
Yeah, okay. And one more expense, and this is that I moved that ANC 2G reimburse Commissioner Alex Prodro for the incurred expense payment for the monthly Zoom webinar 500-1 for the June 8th, 23 ANC meeting in the amount of $83.74.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's
Thank
been
you.
moved by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner Nigro. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raising your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
1 abstention.
Right.
That motion passes on the vote of 4 yeas, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
Right, okay. And that's it for me for this month. I did write Dawn, and I CC'd Alex as to the status. They called me the same day to ask, did I receive any money after I just told them I had not. So anyway, I don't know what the delay is, but it's somewhere in the CFO's office.
All right, well, we'll trust that you'll continue to hound them until we've got our money, Treasurer.
Okay, I'll forward it on to OANC to Kent. See if we can get some fire on it.
Is it just us? Is it just ANC 2G? No.
I have no idea. Only thing I know, you know, what we went through just to get the account open and connected with the bank, and then went through the office of ONC and X, Y, and Z. Finally got it approved and on the record in April. This is June.
Let's see if the executive director of the OANC is able to determine what the holdup is and try to process that so we can make sure that we get payments out to folks.
Yeah, because we owe one individual over $1,000.
And she's been very patient in waiting as well.
Yes, yes. Okay, that's all for me.
Right. That concludes our business for this evening. Yes.
A few things. I had my single member district meeting in person at the Kennedy Recreation Center. It wasn't a large turnout. It was 7 people that showed up, but 7 start. I'm very happy with that as a start, because I know as I continue to have it, more people will show up. I had committee handouts out, like list of the transportation, you know, ABC, historical and development, you know. And so I had some people come in and sign up for those committees, and I'm gonna pass that information on to all of you so that you can get their names and email them and get them on board. Also public safety, because I know that our public safety person was on here tonight. Also, next, my meetings are every 3rd Monday at 6 o'clock. So, except for holidays. So Juneteenth is the next meeting, and that's a holiday. So there will not be a meeting on this on Juneteenth, because the Kennedy Recreation Center will not be open on a holiday. And I also would like to chair the Transportation and Public Space Advisory Committee. I think I would like to take over that. And I really ask for any help with doing so, and hopefully your support in that, because I want to be equitable to everyone. As I've been commissioner, people feel more comfortable coming up to me, telling me how they feel about things that I say and my opinions, and I have very strong opinions. So I would like for those who were involved when Alex Lopez was over the committee to also be involved, and also all of you to, you know, put your input in so that we could have a more equitable balance of those spaces for this community.
Well, great. Thank you for volunteering, and we'll add action on that on our July agenda.
Okay.
Mhm. Thank you.
With that, our next scheduled meeting is July the 13th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m., which would be virtual unless we decide that that's when the 2 GO3 election will take place, in which case it will be hybrid. So as always, agenda and login information will be posted on anc2g.org. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Brown, seconded by Commissioner Nigro. All in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hands.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned at 8:33 p.m. Thank you
Happy
all.
4th of July, because we won't see these people.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Happy everything.
And happy Pride.
All right.
Yes.
And
Okay, bye.
stay safe, everyone.
I'll take care now.